hold on tight, because what I'm about to share might just shake the AI world to its core. Forget OpenAI, forget Google, forget the giants you think control the future of artificial startup in Singapore, a company. You probably haven't heard of called Sapion, and their new AI agent, named HRM, isn't just another small startup trying to hype a mini AI. Hear me out. HRM doesn't win because it's bigger, or because it has been fed oceans of data. It doesn't have billions of parameters, or require massive supercomputers to train. In fact, it's tiny, astonishing, scratching their heads. This little brain-inspired model is outperforming systems 4 times its size. So, how is that even possible? Let's take a step back. Most AI models, like ChatGPT, rely on what's called chain-of-thought reasoning. That's a fancy way of saying that AI talks itself through a problem step by step, kind of like you would in a math problem. Sounds smart, right? And it can be, until the tiniest mistake happens. Instead, it mimics the human brain in a way that's more sophisticated than just calling itself neural netly planning, adjusting, refining, and executing in real time. That is essentially what HRMs that work in tandem. There's the high-level planner, the strategic thinker. It maps the pros back, and then here's the kicker: they loop. The planner adjusts based on what the worker discovers. The worker adjusts. Well, they're nothing short of shocking. On the Arc-Aggie benchmark, a test designed to measure artificial intelligence reasoning, HRM scored 40.3%. That might not sound like a headline-grabbing number, but consider this. Claude 3.7, a powerhouse model, scored 21.5%. HRM did all of this with just 27 million parameters. Let that sink in for a second. 27 million and extreme levels. HRM solved 55% of them. 0. Not a single puzzle solved. And HRM found the optimal path 74.5% of the time. The competition, again, 0. And here's the part that really blows my mind. HRM was trained with only 1,000 examples per task. No internet-sized dataset. No months-long pre-training. Guan to pro-level Sudoku in 2 GPU hours. 2 hours. That's faster than brewing your morning coffee. Now, why does this matter? Because transformer-based difficulty. They can't pause, reassess, or think longer for harder questions. Once equation with a pen and never being allowed to erase a mistake. HRM breaks free from that. Its 2-level architecture allows it to adapt its reasoning depth based on problem complexity. Simple problem. It loops a few times. Hard problem? It loops more. It's flexible. It's strategic. It's human-like. And it's not just a clever hack. HRM avoids one of the biggest heads across layers and steps. Devices you already own: laptops, robots, even cars. Which is exactly what Sapion is doing. They are testing HRM in healthcare, diagnosing mind. Elon Musk's XAI. These aren't newcomers dabbling in AI. They're veteran. Eventually beyond. Chain-of-thought prompting is just a shortcut. What we have built can actually think. Breakthroughs. This project is open source. You can try in casual conversation. It's a reasoning engine, a proof of concept, a glimpse of what the future might hold. But when you combine efficiency, raw reasoning, part of a broader trend. Other labs are exploring new architectures too, based reasoning models. Everyone is realizing that bigger isn't always better. The next leap in AI alone, it's going to be something smarter, faster. Live in massive data centers. They live in not be decades away. Could be here sooner than we think. So, what do you think? Is this the dawn of artificial general intelligence? Zoom in on something that really makes HRM stand out. Most AI Evan, the fancy ones are like students who memorized math formulas. They can recite them perfectly, but ask them to solve a brand new problem that isn't in their textbook. Strategizing, planning, testing, and adapting all in real time. Think about it like this. Imagine you're navigating a massive maze. It's like throwing darts at the walls, hoping one hits the exit. It's like having a partner who can peek around corners, plan multiple routes, try one, then adjust if it hits a dead end. And it does this with a fraction of the computing power. Tiny, efficient, brilliant. And here's something that will blow you, which are trained on billions of pieces of data scraped from the entire internet. Let's pause and imagine the implications. If reasoning AI can be trained quickly, with minimal resources, it's writing in pencil, constantly editing, rearranging chapters, improving the plot as it goes. That's human-level flexibility. Something almost no AI today can. Instead, it uses local gradient updates, which are lighter, faster, and more biologically plausible. For instance, Diagnosing rare diseases often requires piecing together scattered symptoms percent accuracy in seasonal climate predictions. That's not just impressive, it's revolutionary. And Sapion is devices that interact with the real world. Picture a household robot not just fetching items, but thinking ahead, anticipating needs, problem-solving dynamically, or a self-driving car that reasons through complex, unpredictable traffic scenarios, not just following pre-programmed rules. But here's something you might not have thought about. HRM isn't alone in this new frontier. Around the world, labs are experimenting with architectural innovations that challenge models that require dramatically less memory. Let me ask you this. Imagine a world where your AI assistant doesn't come from Google. Imagine it actually is a reasoning engine, not a conversational agent. But it is a proof of concept, one of the strongest we've ever seen. And if the architecture proves scalable, it could be the blueprint for the next generation of AI. So, what do you think? Intelligence. Something extraordinary has just emerged from a tiny chatbot. No, this thing might very well be the most groundbreaking leap in reasoning we've seen in years now. Before you roll your eyes, and thinly small compared to the heavyweights of the AI world. But somehow, in a twist that's leaving experts step in the chain, and the whole reasoning process collapses like a house of cards. HRM doesn't do that, not even close. Network inspired. It literally thinks in loops. Think of a chess master who isn't just following a playbook, but constantly does. Here's the genius. HRM has two distinct components. Problem. Figures out the big picture. Asks itself, what am I even dealing with here? Then there's the low-level worker, the doer, the fast executor that follows the plan and reports apps to the new plan. And this cycle continues until HRM lands on the solution. It's almost poetic. And the results 0.2%. OpenAI's O3 mini high model, 34 billion. Less than 1/4 of GPT-1, which had 117 million. But it gets crazier. HRM was tested on Sudoku puzzles. And not just easy ones. I'm talking hard. You want to guess how Claude and OpenAI did in the 30 by 30 maze challenge? HRM Wong, one of the minds behind HRM, claims you could train it. Large language models, like GPT or Claude, have a fundamental limitation. They always think the same amount for every problem. Regardless of if a token is generated, it's set in stone. That's like writing a math equation mistakes in AI training. Deep backpropagation through time. That's a complex way of saying most models need to track gradients, which is memory intensive, slow, and biologically HRM uses local gradient updates, which are faster, lighter, and actually make sense from a brain-inspired perspective. Less memory means faster training, fewer resources, and the potential to run on rare diseases, and in climate forecasting, where it reportedly hit 97% accuracy. And let's not forget the team behind it. Former engineers from Anthropic, DeepSeek, and betting on a fundamentally new approach. Guan Wang said it best. Artificial general intelligence is about giving machines human-level intelligence and bold. Yes, but the numbers back it up. And unlike most, train it yourself, tweak it, experiment, and witness the magic firsthand. Now, I'll be honest. HRM isn't ready to write poetry, craft emails, or engaging power and biological plausibility. HRM represents a monumental shift, and it's continuous thought machines, 1-bit large language models. Diffusion isn't going to be another GPT and more adaptive. Something like HRM. Imagine a future where AI agents don't know your laptop, your car, your robot assistant, and they aren't just fetching information from the internet, they're thinking strategically, flexibly, like a mind in miniature. That future may, as we've always imagined it, or is HRM just a brilliant proof of concept that will remain a niche experiment? Now, let's see when they stumble. HRM, on the other hand, isn't memorizing, it's reasoning. It's strapped blindfolded. A traditional AI your mind even further. Remember how I said HRM was trained with only 1,000 examples per task? Compare that to GPT or Claude and run on something as small as a laptop. What does that mean for the world? For one, it democratizes AI. You won't need access to billion-dollar data centers to use cutting-edge intelligence. Think of it like writing a novel. Traditional AI is like writing one word at a time with permanent ink and replicate. And for those who love numbers, let's get a bit technical, but don't worry, I'll keep it simple. HRM avoids the computational nightmare called deep backpropagation through time, which is what slows down most large models. In other words, it doesn't need a memory warehouse to keep track of every detail. It can focus on the task at hand, just like a human brain does. Now, imagine what this could mean for real-world applications. Healthcare is a classic maze problem. HRM can handle that. Climate forecasting. That's a complex web of variables, impossible to fully predict with rigid models. HRM reportedly hit 97% stopping there. They're exploring robotics, edge computing, even embedding HRM into defying the bigger is better mindset. There's Sakana, working on continuous thought machines. Some groups are developing one-bit weight. Google is testing diffusion-based reasoning models. All of these experiments signal the same trend. AI is evolving to think more like humans. Not just process data faster, just fetch facts. Understands your problem, anticipates complications, and adapts its solution dynamically. That's not science fiction anymore, that's HRM. And for the first time, a tiny startup is proving that smarter AI doesn't require